driven every single road on Djuma. Nice, good news is that we heard, both Taylor and myself from opposite ends of Djuma, heard the lions roaring. And that's good news. They were still north of our boundary from what we could hear, but that's good news. There's a chance that they might be up and moving. And because the Nkuhumas don't seem to spend much time away from Djuma, hopefully that means they're going to be moving south back onto our traverse area. But for now, we're just trundling along. I've been singing to myself quietly, probably driving poor old Zander mad, because I've got a microphone and he's got earphones on, so he's probably having to listen to what I think is under my breath singing. Poor chap. Should we try some thermal imaging here? Is this little steenbokkie going to run away? It's hidden away. No switching. Okay. In that case, we'll leave our poor steenbokkie because I'm not going to shine the spotlight on him. And we'll carry on. Let's go search for chameleons, porcupines, honey badgers, and dare I say an aardvark. I dare say it. I don't know whether it's going to happen, but I'm still hopeful. Come on, aardvark. You have to be ready to go, Zander. Look, it's another scrub hare. What a surprise. Bouncing off into the distance. There he goes. Going about its evening activities. Well, as I said, that's now 31. Maybe. Not an official tally. Probably around 31. Yes, that makes sense. The females can have several litters of little leverets, baby hares, in 1 year. And obviously the little babies are born very, very, what's known as a precocial. So very highly developed young that are able to hop after their parents almost immediately and that develop and reach sexual maturity very rapidly. Like bunnies. Well, not quite like bunnies, because that, of course, is one of the big differences between scrub hares and rabbits, or any hares and rabbits, is the fact that the young are born precocial in hares and altricial in rabbits, underdeveloped in rabbits. All part of the Lagomorph family. They are not rodents, as was once commonly believed. They're not rodents, they're completely separate in their own little family group. Okie dokie, let us see what we can find. Even the insects have moved off the roads now. I don't know why that is. I don't know why there's such a change from the start of the evening to this point. Okay. Let's see if we can't find chameleons as well. Sorry, itchy cough. Something just bit me. There's a millipede. Lots more of them about. I think our regular viewers know that millipedes are one of my favourite of the arthropods to have a chance to see. I just love the way they move with their legs in waves. What if it's eating that bulb? That's interesting. It looks like it is. Or if it's eating the coating on the outside. Now those are dug up by elephants, I would say, most likely. I'm very curious. Alright, well, it seems as though James's lions have woken up. Let's go and have a look at their frivolity.
The lions are up, everybody. We are live. Thank you, Mr. Warrington. The lions... We spotted some bogies, as Graham called them, in the background. The lions got up to see if they could find what those bogies were, and now they are kind of in hunting mode, actually. This is starting to look promising until one of them sat down. Well, let's see what happens. No, don't sit down. Don't you dare sit down. Oh, stalking sister or brother. Here we go. Going to burst out of the left-hand side of your screen. Ooh. That's quite sweet. Isn't that lovely? Just like the ninkapumas when they're on a misty morning, trying to get a bit warmer. So it is with the Kichwa Tembo pride. So cool. There's two females having a little bit of a play. That's very cool. Adults. Even adults get to have fun. Graham's got another bogey. Where's it, Graham?
Right here. Very fucking just for you, Binda. I don't know when he's done anything.
You think? Everybody, we've got a piece of lion dung, warm and steaming. Look at that. Well done. Excellent television this is. Let's keep going. Where are the lions? Is there over there is not helpful? Number 10 o'clock. There they are. I can see them just in the distance there, chasing each other instead of a topi. Bogies at 2:30. Now they're in the hunt. Look at the body language. It's changed there. Hello, David Ryan. You say there seems to be more action in the Mara during the day than during the night. In this particular spot, perhaps, David, but no. I mean, all around us there are the herds of animals, and we could have been going to look for them, like I say. We could have been going to look for other lions on the hunt, or perhaps hyenas. But it's difficult to find them. There's no one else around at night. And so that's why we've made the choice to stay with these lions as they go on the hunt. You're coming along with us on a learning journey. We're learning how to watch these things in the night time. We're learning how to follow them hunting without affecting them with this infrared, with the thermal camera. And I just think it's tremendous fun. Oh, big hole. Let's hope we don't disappear into it. Don't want to bury the car just yet. There we go. Body language has changed slightly, I think. Graham, any word on the bogies? By bogies he means unidentified thermal objects, of course. Could be topi. Still at 2:30, but they do seem to be about a pixel wide each, which means they're most of the way to the southern plains of Serengeti, but the lions are heading in their direction. I'm being facetious, of course. I'm exaggerating. They're nowhere near the Serengeti. They're not too far from us here. We'll just ease along with them. Now we're excited. Lions on the hunt. Something going on here, everybody. There's lots of playing going on. I'm just going to switch off, let them listen for a while. There. See how she froze there? Those are the other lions in front and the bogies in front of them. This is very cool. 3 of them now. Great. At least, Genre, go to the one on the left. What's it doing? Look, they're fanning. Or it's coming back to play with its mate. No, they're fanning out here. This be hunting behavior. Young male hanging back, because like most teenage males, he's unable to do anything useful. I was certainly one of those. So he's hanging around waiting to see what happens. This is fantastic. Now this lioness is heading off to the left. Let's quickly swing to the right and see if we can see the others. There we go. Fanning out to the right. Where's the other one? We've got 5 here. Graham, any idea where the 6th is?
Behind us, coming up on the right.
Behind us, coming up on the right. That's, could well be the other male.
This cat is looking at that herd of turkey there. This one is looking at that herd of turkey over there.
And there seem to be a number of herds of topi. They've been identified as. How Graham has managed to identify those things as topi, I don't know. But he wasn't wrong last time. We're going to give it to him this time. Look at them. They are fanning out. Just going into stalk mode now. See the head dropping. The shoulders opening. And the inevitable snooze before actually hunting. Yeah, topi are coming towards us. Chandra, we need to go back infrared, I'm afraid, onto those lions so that we can see exactly what they're doing. Okay, we're going to go to Jamie now. She's got a white-tailed mongoose. We'll see what happens with this hunt.
Hunting just behind this termite mound. Really? Oh, there he goes. Oh, perfect. Awesome. The largest of our mongoose species that you will get a chance to see, at least. Might maybe see a water mongoose, which is pretty much the same size. But how cool is this? And look how relaxed it is. No, wait, don't go. I'm hoping he might actually pop back out. Just hold on one moment before we go, in case we scare it. Like a pendulum. Okay, let's try reposition. Seems to be quite relaxed. Definitely one of the coolest creatures. I love these nocturnal drives. All the things we hardly ever get to see. Please be here, please be here. There we go. Look at him foraging about, looking for various insect species to catch. They're all here, mongoose. They're in the car. They're in Rusty. You can come collect them off Zander. The solitary, except when mating or when it is a female with babies, they're completely unlike our dwarf mongoose that we see during the day. They fall under the Herpestidae family. All very similar or closely related to the Viveridae family and the Mustelidae, like the civet that we saw. Sorry, that's a viverid. Civet is a viverid. They all have relatively similar, and it's a weird thing that links them, relatively similar anal glands. And they paste along as they go forward in their little territories on blades of grass and trees. How awesome is this? I don't think I've ever had a white-tailed mongoose sighting that lasted this long. Oopsie! Did you get a blade of grass in the tummy? This is awesome. I'm keeping the spotlight just off it. It is a nocturnal animal, so it's okay to spotlight. But I'm keeping it just away from it, so it provides a little bit of ambient light. But we've got the infrared to do most of the work for us. And in that way, we can watch it hunt. You can see where it gets its name. It's a very imaginative name, white-tailed mongoose. The most obvious part of it is that massive white tail. I'd love to know the history behind that evolution and why it has that white tail. I suppose it makes sense for a nocturnal creature to have something that stands out so that it can communicate with other mongoose. I think it's going to come back. Oh, no, it's not. Amazing! Look how relaxed it is. It's the fun thing about... Whoopsie, I nearly drove into a tree. I got so overexcited. The wonderful thing about these nighttime drives is a lot of these nocturnal animals are very, very skittish during the day if they are out. But at night, he stopped there. Here we go. At night, with a spotlight, they often relax completely. It's the same thing with skittish leopards, which we don't see all that often. But, for example, like the one that we had on our live safaris not too long ago, called Djuma, and he's called the one who runs because he runs away from vehicles. But at night, with a spotlight, tends to be a lot more relaxed. I think it's because they know that they are much, or they are at least much more comfortable at night. Such fantastic colouring. You can really see the stark contrast between the dark legs. What do we get? Snuffling about. Oh, got something. Goes down a couple of crunches. But you can really see the contrast on the legs. The dark legs against a slightly lighter coloured body. This is the longest I've ever sat with a white-tailed mongoose. Like its dwarf mongoose cousins, a fierce insect eater and predator. That's what it's mainly after. It will also catch things like frogs, and possibly even small snakes. And David, you want to know if this is a male or a female. I have absolutely no idea. It's next to impossible to tell at this sort of distance and angle. The only way we could tell is if another white-tailed mongoose perhaps joined in. Although even then, they have been known to forage together relatively peacefully in certain areas. So you could even see a couple of them together with a little bit of space in between them. So unless I go and lift up Mr. or Mrs. Mongoose's tail and have a look, it will be very, very difficult to tell. The only way you could maybe tell is if you happen to come across one with babies. And then, of course, you would know that it is a female, since the males don't play a role, unlike their dwarf mongoose cousins, where the whole family gets together in helping to raise the little ones. White-tailed mongoose are solitary, and their females raise the young on their own. Very cool. Let's go across to James. His lions are on the move.
Right, everybody, we've got a real hunt going on here. It's the same lioness. Now, this is how we want to tell the story, of course, of these lionesses and the two young males. This is the lead huntress. She's done this 3 times today, once after Thompson's gazelle, but then she chased those topi, and now she's after topi again on her own. That's Gendre. Just next to Gendre are the topi. That's them there. They have no idea she's there. The rest of the pride is behind us. And she's just outside of infrared range at this stage. See, she's now stalking. I'm going to move slightly forward. I can't see exactly where she is. She's at 10 o'clock, so we're just going to keep sneaking forward. There she is. You can just see at the edge of the infrared range there. And what we don't want to do is disturb her hunt, so I know this isn't the best picture in the world. Like I say, a lioness on her own, often as successful as prides of lions at catching things. She's tried 3 times. She's definitely hungry. She is going to make an attempt here. Don't know where the rest of them are. Lost her in the aisle there. Graham, where is she? Just trying to find her. We got her there. Where is she, Graham? 10 o'clock still. So the camera is looking in her direction exactly. We're just a little bit behind her. Okay, I'm going to stop here. We're very close to the topi apparently. They're not within the range of the infrared just yet. So those are the topi you were looking at there. Chandra is just panning around. Oh, it's not Chandra, it's Graham panning around. Other lions nowhere to be seen. There, that's them behind us. They are moving along, but they're quite a long way behind. I'm just going to move quickly. Sorry about that jiggly picture. There she is. And the topi are? The topi are just in front of us. We're going to stay. There they are. I'm going to sneak very slightly forward, Graham. John, reckon we have full infrared in front, just so as soon as we get vague flicker of the topi eyes. Are we in full zoom there? Okay, as soon as we get a little flicker of their eyes in the infrared, I'll stop. She's not chasing yet, I don't think. Graham, if you were to give an estimate of how close you think those topi are, what would you say? They're at 12:30. There they are! Well done, Chandra. Chandra says it's a bit dark. Yes, it is a bit dark. But there's a lion hunting them. Oh, where's the lioness? She's moving in from the side. We can't see her yet in the infrared. There she is. That's just her. That's that little speck of light there. She's moving quickly. I'm going to move her slightly forward.
The topi are going away from us. They're running.
Apparently they're running at the moment, the topi. Oh, I think they've smelt her. What are those two things there? Hang on. They don't look to be running. They're just going back to try and find the lioness. There she's still coming for them. She's still stalking them. So she's just out of the range of our infrared. Gee, this thermal camera is amazing, isn't it? Can you imagine trying to do this without the thermal camera? It'd be almost impossible. One of them's looking that way, but I don't think that they're not moving away with huge enthusiasm. They haven't turned towards us, have they? Just excuse the jiggly picture, everyone. It's because poor old Genre can't actually... He's not operating it, and so we have to film the monitor, if you like. They're moving... What are those? Those are topi moving towards the lioness. There she is. Here we go. Look, she's crouching. You can just see her body language change, even on those 3 pixels that are making up the lioness. She's crouching there. Some more topi. They're not the same topi, though. There are 2 others coming this way. They've got no idea there's a lioness. There they are. They're just they're just not both in range yet. Okay, what I'm doing, everyone, we're going to wait here and see what happens. The topi are walking straight towards her. They're walking straight towards her. There. She's going. She's going. No, she's not. What is she doing? I think those topi are messing around. They've stopped moving. They think something's up. They're probably about 100 meters in front of us, 300 feet or so. It's out the range of the IR, maybe a little bit more than that. She's going. Genre, I think we must lift up. Any idea, Graham? Hold on, everyone. This is so exciting. Can't see anything in front of us just yet. Any idea on the thermal?
over there in the middle, which is on our right. Go right.
On.
Go 3 o'clock.
Where are we going? 3 o'clock. So they're staying straight now, everyone. I know you can't hear exactly what's going on. She's given up. She's given up. I think she's going back towards, there she is. I can see her now. Ah, she's hungry, this lioness, guys. She's hungry. And she's given up because the rest of her pride is absolutely useless. Alright, let's head back to Jamie. She's still got the white-tailed mongoose. Let's find out if it's managed to be slightly more affected than the lions of the Mara Triangle.
Can you believe we're still sitting with this white-tailed mongoose? It's the most relaxed white-tailed mongoose in the world. In fact, it even lay down at one point and had a little bit of a snooze, and it looks as though it's thinking about, there you go, doing it again. Well, that was such a big sigh, mongoose. You look as though you have the weight of the world on your shoulders. What's the matter? I actually thought it had settled down there because it found something on the ground. It was sniffing all around that patch. Now, it might have just been an interesting smell that it decided to lie down in, but it could also be that it's playing a patience game with something underneath the ground, perhaps a scorpion, just waiting for its opportunity to pounce when the moment's right. I say that, it looks perfectly relaxed to me. In fact, it doesn't look as though it's going anywhere. So there you go. Right out in the open, a white-tailed mongoose snoozing in front of us. That is definitely a first for me. How incredible is that? And all live from the middle of the African bushveld, from hunting lions, I'm sure are not useless, to our white-tailed mongoose and a civet and all kinds of exciting things. It's gone flat cat. What would be the term for a flat mongoose? Now, Dinga, you wanted to know if these mongoose are related to meerkats at all. Yes, absolutely they are, so well... Oh, on the alert immediately. Well done for spotting the similarities. So they're all part of the same family. They're all part of the Herpestidae family. A meerkat is essentially a desert mongoose. Their behaviors are very, very similar in a lot of ways to things like our dwarf mongoose or our banded mongoose that live in groups. There's some differences, of course. One of the big things being that they are very highly adapted to living in dry conditions, whereas here in this area they're outcompeted or have been outcompeted by mongoose. And our mongoose here are basically the equivalent of meerkats. And I'm sure if we could, not that I don't think it would be possible, but if we could follow a white-tailed mongoose for a night or many nights in a row, I'm sure we'd learn all kinds of fascinating things about them. Now, unlike the dwarf mongoose and the banded mongoose, which are diurnal animals, I'm sure that these white-tailed would also habituate as quickly as the others do, but I don't think they have the same level of research that's been done into them, and the way in which they interact with each other and the way that they behave. Please, little fruit chafer, could you stop crawling up my thigh? That would be wonderful, thank you. I really can't believe this. I have never sat this long with the white-tailed mongoose before. Oh, big yawn. You can see those sharp predator teeth. There you go, giving us a glimpse of its canines. Now, Ginny, you want to know if the mongoose can climb trees. And the answer is yes, to a point. They're not as good at climbing trees as something like a genet, which looks very similar. Genet kind of looks like a cat mixed with a mongoose. So they can climb relatively well, but you'll never find them up in the tops of trees or anything like that. They kind of gamble over stumps or off the base of trees, but that's about it. Exciting stuff on our last half, or at least Taylor and myself, the last half an hour of evening safari. Let's go and see what she's found.
I have got a frog. One we haven't seen, but we did hear last night. So this is... Oh, listen, listen. Can you hear it starting to sing? Listen quickly, I'm not going to talk too much. You can also hear the hyenas calling in the background, but this is a Tandy's frog, a Tandy sand frog. And we were hearing them call in great numbers. Sorry, everybody, I have something crawling up my pants, which is not a good feeling. So if I wiggle around a little bit, myself and Dave apologize. And you can see on this sand frog over here how its vocal sac is enlarged. Can you all see that? You can see it moving. Now that is what amplifies the sound, and I presume that this is a male, and there are quite a few others. You can hear them starting to call. And remember last night I was telling you about the time sharing, how they call in between each other's calls, and it's amazing. And then the females can choose who they like. Now there's also hyenas in the distance that are whooping away. And I think they're not too far from where those lions are. We are standing by waiting and hoping that the lions are going to come through, because we did hear the lions roar a while ago when we were further south, so we raced on over. But there's nothing here yet. But I'm quite happy that the hyenas are whooping in the distance. I think it's a bit far away for all of you to hear. Let's try. Let's listen. Don't think you can hear the hyenas, but you can just hear the frogs. And look how excited this frog has got now. Ooh, shouting at all the other boys, saying, I sing the best, choose me. I love how they all stop at exactly the same time too. Sorry. Oh my goodness, the bugs. The bugs. Oh my goodness, please stop. Sorry, it's biting me. It's biting me. Sorry, everyone. I had something biting my ankles. Okay. And I'm good. No, I'm fine. I'm a strong girl. But this is quite amazing to be able to see this. I'm super impressed that they're not too bothered by us. That they're actually carrying on. The names of these frogs down. So we've seen a Tandy's sand frog, and then on the first evening, oh, now I've got a mosquito flying around me, and then on the first evening we also saw, what is it, a flat-back toad, if I'm not mistaken, a flat-back toad. So we've seen two, but now we often hear them and we don't see them. And I think Jamie may have had a frog or a toad this evening, but I'll have to ask her what she had a little bit later. Awesome. Well, I think let's leave these frogs then, because I think they've had enough of us watching them. While I make my way to Buffelshoek Dam, let's go back to Jamie and the very famous white-tailed mongoose.
Right, so we need a new term. We've got flat cats, and we talk about log dogs when our wild dogs are sleepy, and flat cats when our lions are sleepy, and a huddle of hyenas and various other... We came up with quite a few. We were talking about what flat hyenas would be called, so now we need one for a flat mongoose. Morose mongoose? No, not really, although this one is particularly morose. Gave such a heavy sigh earlier. No, that's sad again. Probably not melancholy, it's probably just fine. What could it be? I'm out. I'm out of ideas. I welcome suggestions. My brain does not work past a certain hour in the evening. Or before a certain hour in the morning as well. And speaking of mornings, Dawn! What a lovely question from you, and one that I think people often think when they see our mongoose. You want to know if they can be domesticated, and like ferrets can, and the answer is yes, they can. Just bear in mind, whoopsie, sorry, spotlight slipped. Just bear in mind what I mentioned earlier about their incredible ability to anal paste things, and you can think about whether or not you'd want one as a pet. Also, speaking from experience, they have very sharp teeth, and they bite very painfully. I haven't ever experienced a domesticated or a habituated white-tailed mongoose, but I have had a banded mongoose hanging from my septum, so underneath my nose. And a friend of mine, Steph, who is a regular viewer, had a banded, the same banded mongoose, whose name was Goose, somewhat imaginatively, hanging from her eyelid. So they get quite possessive over... Oh, what is moving behind it? It's a solifuge. Well done. Xander actually pointed that out to me a while ago, but there is a solifuge moving behind that mongoose. So Dawn, they're quite aggressive. They get attached to a couple of people, one or two people. That tends to be the sentence is all gone wrong. That tends to be gender specific. So they might like ladies, or they might really not like men. It just depends upon their gender, the mongoose's gender. Often the females will be more attached to men and hate other women. So you can, but I wouldn't recommend it. Definitely wouldn't recommend it. Speaking from real, serious experience. Goose became one of the most terrifying creatures in my life at one point. I'd walk into a room and she would all of a sudden start hissing and start attacking me. Now they might look small, but I can tell you that it is quite terrifying. Come on, we need a name for flat mongooses. Jason! I've got one. Sorry, Jason. I'll answer your question in a second. It's a mongoose mat. Haha! It's a mongoose mat. The brain does work a little bit. And Jason wants to know if the white-tailed mongoose's den could be nearby, and that's why it's resting. Entirely possible. I would say that this is probably a regular haunt of this white-tailed mongoose. Similar to our dwarf mongoose, they will pick old termite mounds, holes in the ground, very, very similar to the abodes chosen by the dwarf mongoose. So it's possible. Where we are at the moment on Philemon's cut line, there are plenty of termite mounds and plenty of opportunity or possible den sites. I'm just taking a break from hunting, really. Just a little nap. Been very busy. Our mongoose mat needs a bit of rest. I cannot believe this. This is incredible. Obviously, maybe it had quite a big meal just before we arrived and is sleeping off a full belly, like a post-large lunch nap. Or a siesta. We know of at least one white-tailed mongoose den site that is close to Djuma Dam. I've never found any others. It'd be fascinating to know where this particular one comes from and if it's a boy or a girl. There's the solifuge or something at the back. I think it's a solifuge near the log. I think it is a solifuge. It's interesting that the white-tailed mongoose hasn't even thought about going for it. Possibly having learned from bitter experience about the bite of a solifuge. Although I would have thought it would be more than a match for it. Perhaps it knows something we don't. Or maybe it's just really far too exhausted to think about tackling it. Oh, you got a leaf. Oh, gone. The latest in mongoose fashion. I was hoping he was going to wear it. One thing that does surprise me and that I've learned today is how open mongoose. The fact that the mongoose is lying up in the open like this, I would have thought it would make it very vulnerable to. Well, I suppose only a rose eagle owl would be big enough to grab a mongoose. It's up, looking for all the world like a little miniature fox when it sits up like that, just minus the ears. Focused again. Ah, meditating mongoose from Magnolia. And Jeffrey from Texas had a similar idea as me, melancholy mongoose. And Elena says mashed down mongoose. Mashed down mongoose. Oh dearie me. So many options to choose from. I don't know why. There we go again. There's the mashed down mongoose. One big yawn. I thought white-tailed mongoose would be busy scurrying about the whole night through. I've learned something this evening. It's the wonderful thing about being a safari guide in general, but also doing these live drives. I don't think there's ever been a day where I haven't learned something new. This evening I've learned how to get a bug out of my shirt on a regular basis, and what white-tailed mongoose do. Monique from London, you are absolutely right. They are nocturnal. I just think we might have happened upon the laziest white-tailed mongoose on the entirety of Djuma. Where does it sleep during the day? Either in the termite mound burrows, we sort of discussed that before about that being a possible den site. They might also, I guess, sleep in thick, sort of like a bushy undergrowth where it could hide away. But I think for the most part it probably adopts a very similar approach as a dwarf mongoose, except at night rather than during the day rather than at night. And that is to go underneath the ground. That would be my guess. Perhaps in crevices, rocky crevices, maybe in a couple of fallen down logs might be a possibility. I've never, and I mean, we go tracking regularly on foot, we walk regularly through the bush. I've never had a white-tailed mongoose come shooting out of the bushes next to me. It's just the wind. I heard a noise. I think we're going to wake up a lot chillier tomorrow morning than we were this afternoon. I have a feeling the cold weather is blowing in. It would explain why it was so hot today. Warm air currents being pushed ahead of a cold front. I think that's why the mongoose has got its head up. It's hearing the wind and the leaves rustle, just making sure that there's nothing stalking it or trying to sneak up upon it. Well, this is a rare treat indeed. The longest I have ever spent with a dwarf mongoose. Why do I keep calling it a dwarf mongoose? You see, that's how unusual it is. I can't even get the name of the animal right. This is the longest I have ever spent with a white-tailed mongoose before. Next is water mongoose. I have to get one of those and add it to our list. You can see much more alert now, and that's just because the wind is blowing. It's creating rustling sounds everywhere. Immediately placed our white-tailed mongoose on the alert as soon as we get close to them. Except for this white-tailed mongoose. Oh, we're up! We're up! You see, I think he was waiting for something. And I think it just messed up its opportunity. I think it's sitting there waiting at the entrance to something like a scorpion burrow. Interesting. Ambush. Yes, that's what I think happened. I think it's been waiting and just keenly listening for the sounds of whatever happens to be there, scrabbling out. Might be a really nice idea, if I can remember where we are, to go and check this area tomorrow afternoon. If you come and join us on our extended sunset safari once again, we can come back here while it's still light and go and investigate what is there. That is, of course, if I can remember where I am. Perhaps I shall mark it. How's that? I'll mark it with my GPS points on my map. No, this is telling me I'm on Cheetah Plains. I'm definitely not on Cheetah Plains unless I've got very lost. Having a jolly good scratch. Okay. Alright, I know where I am now. So we'll be able to find it tomorrow. Now it's digging. I think that was the answer to why our mongoose was flat mongoose. Mongoose mat. Mashed down mongoose. Melancholy mongoose. Now meandering mongoose. Missioning mongoose now. And now missing mongoose. No, not so missing. Mysterious mongoose. Joan says that it should be called the Goodnight Tail Mongoose. I love it. Good night, Mr. Mongoose. Or Mrs. Mongoose. Whatever you were. Thank you for an awesome sighting. On that wonderful note, it is time for me to say a farewell, and since I'm clearly bordering on the slight insanity level at this point, perhaps that is just for the best. So, a big thank you to Zander for his fantastic camera work, as well as to our dedicated ladies in Final Control and our tech team, and most importantly, a big thank you to all of you. We'll catch up with you tomorrow on the Sunset Safari, but for now, have a wonderful day or evening or whatever it happens to be wherever you are, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Right, everybody, we have just got some elephants just to our left, and we don't want to disturb them too much. We'd actually like to try and go past them. Are we going to infrared? Are we not?
If we can, we will.
I'd love to go to infrared. And just, is everybody ready for us? Now I am the green goblin, everybody. Now what we're going to do is we're going to try and pass these elephants. Best to do it when you have no lights on, because they don't particularly enjoy the lights, and hopefully they'll be a bit more forgiving. And I've got to try and navigate through. Oh my goodness, it's so dark. You can see there's one. I can't see where I'm going. I'm going to have to do this on the side. Hello, elephant. But how cool is that? We're going to listen to the elephants, everybody. You can see it there. You can see that they've also been for a swim. Can you see how much darker their feet are compared to the rest of their body? They will obviously went for a nice drink in a muddy section of water. Now everyone, this light is not bothering them at all. Normally the reaction you'd get if this was a spotlight, they would be very unhappy. There'd probably be lots of head shaking and ear flapping and possibly even trumpeting. But now they're not doing any of this because of this wonderful infrared light that we have all over the vehicles. Pretty amazing how far technology has come and how we're able to do that. Now, Susan, I know you're wondering if the elephants are dangerous because of the infrared camera. No, they're not. I actually feel a lot more comfortable now, knowing that I'm sitting in complete darkness. And the elephants know I'm here, and I'm not disturbing them in any way. They can't see the infrared light, so they're just carrying on like normal, like you can see this elephant doing over here. She's not bothered by us at all, which is fantastic. Still eating, which is good. And I do agree with Jamie as well. The wind has definitely picked up, and it's come out of nowhere. It's been a beautiful, placid day. Really hot. It's cooling down quite nicely. So I'm sure all the animals are happy with that. Beautiful. But unfortunately, everybody, it's getting to that hour where I'm going to have to start saying goodbye to all of you. It has been an absolute wonderful day. I think I'm going to stay in green this evening and the goblin. And I hope you've all enjoyed the show. And I must say a special thank you to all the lovely ladies in Final Control this evening. It's been great having you whisper in my ear, and for all the wonderful questions that all the viewers have asked. So thank you so much for that. It's great to hear some of these questions coming through. Now, I'm going to try and sneak past these elephants. And remember, we've got another safari marathon tomorrow. So from myself and from Dave, we hope you have a wonderful evening.
We're still here. The topi remain unmolested by these lions. And, well, we don't know really what's going to happen. She, the lioness you're looking at now, seems to be particularly keen on the hunting thing. The rest of them, well, they're sort of more useless than a... well, I'm not sure how to describe how useless they are, but they're not particularly useful. They haven't made one attempt to help her go off and hunt. They've sat back and done nothing. We've lost 2 of the cats now, and we're just looking at the one. 3 of them are behind her, but we're not really sure. She's definitely after something, and we think she probably will kill at some stage tonight. When that will be is anyone's guess, but there's so much out here, you know. I mean, there are gazelles and wildebeest and zebra and all those wonderful things, but why she's chosen to hunt here, I can't imagine. She seems to have been doing some strange things, like moving quite a lot with the wind, although that is what they did yesterday evening when they caught that zebra, so I'm not sure why she's done that. But no one really knows. There were vast herds of wildebeest that came back into the Mara Triangle today and yesterday as a result of those rains. So, I mean, compared with yesterday, even though yesterday there was a huge amount of food around, today there is, well, probably 10 times the amount, and they've come straight away from it almost, which is very strange, slightly frustrating, and it's only frustrating because it's so completely unpredictable. And that's the thing about these natural systems, is that we just don't really know often. There are so many variables in play here. How is she hunting? Is she using the wind? Or in what way is she using the wind? Does the temperature make a difference? Does the fact that the rest of the lions aren't so hungry make a difference? What other variables are there? Is it getting, is the moisture in the grass perhaps dulling the smell of the other animals, of those wildebeest? Has the calling of those other lions perhaps deterred them and pushed them further north? Maybe they're still trying to avoid those males, and the calling of the males has driven them further north. We haven't heard those males calling today. Once, very distantly, could have been Scarface calling, but there are these hundreds and hundreds of variables that we just don't really understand at the moment. Anyway, it's still rather fascinating to be out here. The smells, of course, of being in the bush out in the night are tremendous indeed, and the odd frog calling in the background, and some insects yelling here and there, well, that's very pleasant as well. And way in the distance I can hear the rapids going over the rocks of the Mara River. That dark brown river that's been flowing in its endless sort of winding oxbow lakes for goodness knows how long, over which those wildebeest have been eaten by the crocodiles for, again, goodness knows how long. As I've been saying while we've been here, the sense of ancientness here. Is that a word, ancientness? I'm not sure that ancientness is a word. Anyway, the sense of ancientness of this landscape is just profound, and it really has had a very deep effect on me. Every time there's a little breeze blowing, it's coming from the sort of left and behind the screen now. You see she turns her head into it. So she's definitely trying to smell something. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm just going to try and get my bearings now. Oh, I'm completely lost now, I haven't. There is... Yep, no, I'm completely lost. I don't know where I am. I just have to take out a compass. Graham says he can see Ngama up on the hill there. Yes, I think that looks about right. So we're probably facing in a sort of southerly direction now. And so the wind is coming from the southeast, which it hasn't before. Let me go check her out. If I don't agree with Graham, I can check on the compass here. He's right, unfortunately, but he can't hear me whispering, so I won't say anything. I'll just say that I knew it was Ngama where we're staying. So, the wind is indeed coming out of the north, not southeast. It's coming from the north. Good. Well, I'm glad we've established that. That's relatively consistent, I suppose, for what it has been doing. You just get out of the way so you can now look at the lion. There are the other two, looking relatively entertained by life. Oh gosh, I must say, I'm reminded of a story I was told once by my good friend Alex, and he used to guide down the Sabi Sand, and he had some guests that used to come through every year. And while these people were very sweet and they loved him very much and they wanted him to sort of, they didn't have kids, so they kind of adopted him as their South African child, I suppose. And they used to come out for sort of 10 days or 12 days at a time. And every time they came out, they'd say, well, let's go out all night tonight and follow a leopard the whole night. And let's see what she does. And one of the trackers, or Alex's tracker, and many of you have met him actually, his name is Renia Simhlongo. And the great Renia Simhlongo said to Alex, a leopard sleeps a lot at night. He says, I don't think you these guests want to actually go out and watch a leopard sleeping. And Alex said, no, he was a young buck, he recently qualified, his new game ranger's outfit and jeep and rifle, he thought he was big stuff, he knew a lot. He said, no, let's go out, we know they're nocturnal, the books say they're nocturnal, they must be. Well, he says they went out that night, and that leopard slept for more than 10 hours of the darkness that they had there. I think she did one brief hunting foray, failed, and went to sleep for 10 hours. And this has kind of reminded me of what we're doing here. But we're learning. We're learning these lions, we're learning their methods, we're learning their special kind of interactions, and we've already got a character here, and she is the huntress in this pride. I wouldn't say from that sort of infrared picture that we're going to get to a stage where we can name her tonight, but I think tomorrow we should definitely make an effort to find which lioness she is and give her a name, because she seems to be the leader of this pride. But around her, not much in the offing. Goodness, we have a question. This is wonderful. Hello, Doug. Unfortunately, it's a question I am unable to answer. You say, what is the leopard population in the Masai Triangle, in the Mara Triangle? Doug? Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to say the density is probably slightly less than that of the Sabi Sand, because the habitat is obviously a lot more open. But leopard can live in open areas. They don't have to not live in open areas. But there also are massive numbers of hyenas. And leopards compete with hyenas quite a lot, and that makes it quite difficult for them. So I'm going to say, if we say in the Sabi Sands, I think that I've forgotten exactly what the number is. I think we last counted it out, about 183 leopards all told with cubs. I'm going to say it's probably about 60% of that. So let's say they're probably all told all over the Mara Triangle, which is roughly the same size as the Sabi Sands. Well, it's about 10,000 hectares less. So let's call it an even 50% of the number of leopards that there are in the Sabi Sand. We did see one. He was completely unresponsive to us. All we saw was his bottom sticking out of the greenery of a tree. She's looking at something there. Any bogies on the... No, the thermal camera's gone to sleep, I'm afraid. There we go, that's Graham, just rousing himself. She's looking at something across there.
Tree?
She's looking at a tree.
There is something, there's a herd, but it is so far away.
There is a herd apparently many kilometers away.
But it looks big, I must admit.
There is a big herd many kilometers away.
And there's some hippos in the far distance.
And hippos in the far distance, those are the half pixels you can see there on the horizon.
And then even further away than that, I see 2 or 3 zebra, but one of them appears to have a limp of some sort.
And one zebra limping in the very far distance there. Graham was of course talking utter zebra dung. There's the one. Oh, there are lions calling now. Down to the south. Let's see if she's looking.
Yes.
These lions have been silent now for 3 nights. Completely silent. That's not surprising. They don't want to attract the attention of the males. If they kill, they're going to eat, leave the carcass and go away. They don't want to be around those males anymore. In fact, lionesses seldom want to be around the males because all they do is steal the food and create a stink about the place. So unless they're wanting to mate, they just don't hang around the lions for very long. She is listening though, and I think she's going to go off into the night at some stage to do a bit of hunting. Alternatively, she may go to sleep for the next 10 hours. I'm slightly disconcerted as to where the rest of the pride are, so we're going to do one more scan around. So let's have a scan on the thermal.
Yeah, I think I found them. There they are.
Is that all of them?
No, there's 3 there. Lying
3
down.
there.
In the distance are 2 more.
On the distance, 2 more. Far there. Are they doing anything?
Well, they look like they're a little bit... One of them's grown from 1 to 2 pixels. So.
That's very impressive. One is now 3 pixels in extent, everybody, which means they're probably coming closer. That's called blue shift, if you like. Ooh, hang on. Ooh. You lazy blighters, well done. Well, that seemed to have been initiated by the pixels on approach. Now, that, I'm afraid, from a hunting point of view, is slightly disastrous. Lions hunting don't shout about their presence. Right, I think Let's wait for them to reunite, and then we might decide to call it quits for the night. She's looking. She's going towards the pixels. No, she's not. She's going towards... Yes, she is. Let's follow and see what happens. A couple of lions on the right of the vehicle that we'll avoid. Or to disturb them, you know. I've had a very tough night. Doing absolutely bog-orby. Here we have a meeting taking place. This is quite nice to see. They know where she is. She knows where they are. I wonder what they went off to do. Perhaps they went off to have a drink. The pub. That's so cool. She's got quite tattered ears. We had a little discussion a bit earlier on about the biting flies. If they lie down, we're going to can it, everyone. Go and do something. Thank you. Good idea. They're not looking skinny though, I've got to tell you.
Something out there, John.
Where?
Right out in front of them.
One's on the left
I don't think they've seen it though.
are playing.
No, the one's on the left. Straight behind them.
Yes, I can see there's a bogey there.
What is it?
I don't know what it is. I can just see a pixel.
It's a giant bronze gazelle.
There it is. It's a bit more than a pixel at this angle.
Yeah, it is. But they don't seem to be aware of it.
No, that one did. The one... She looked at it. Definitely.
Oh, it's an alarm call from a topi.
There's an alarm call from a topi. It's seen them, and now you all have seasickness.
Oh, are we looking sorry? Sorry, I'm going to come back really quickly. Sorry, apologies.
Much seasickness, apparently from the final control.
Sorry, I wasn't aware.
Girls, you must bring bags next time. I'm going to sneak forward. There's no reason we need to be viewing them in this thermal light if we can see them in infrared. You see them, Jandre? Oh, that You can see them. There's two things there on the screen, I think. Paul, you say, the lions roaring at night must really rattle the bones of the prey, and you wonder if they don't roar to warn them that they're coming, or to let them know they're not hunting. I don't think they do that on purpose, but I absolutely think that serves the purpose. And when they do roar, it's, I think, rather than chilling the bones of their prey, I think it's actually quite a relief. The prey know that there's not something coming out of the darkness towards them. They can hear the lions are calling, and they know that that's where one set of predators is, and so, well, they should probably avoid that area. So that's what I think happens when they roar, Paul. Alrighty, everybody, we're going to pack this in, I'm afraid. We'll come back out tomorrow, of course, at 3 o'clock this afternoon. 3 o'clock Central African time, 4 o'clock East African time. We are, of course, in East Africa. That's where Kenya is. And so all that remains for me to do is to say a very fine thank you to all of you for joining us for the duration of the drive. A big thank you to Jamie and Taylor and Eggsy and David in the Sabi Sand for all of their efforts this evening. Big thank you to Jean on camera today. There he is. And a big thank you to Graham on the thermal imaging seasickness device that he used today. Thank you for joining us. We will see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock this time in the afternoon. Bye-bye.